we encourage you to check that out too. Well, you just mentioned in your answer a way to include children, and one of our listeners, Betty, wonders if you happen to know of any children's resources that deal with this topic or that might be good to use in schools or CCD classes. Are you familiar with any?
Well, I know that some have been developed, and at this point I would contact Dan Misleh, M-I-S-L-E-H, at the Catholic Coalition on Climate Change. And I think Dan, his office now tracks a lot of these resources, and I know that some have been developed in curriculum too, including for children. I know that when I was at the Catholic Conference, one of the challenges that I faced was trying to get people who were experts, so to speak, in childhood education and so forth, to devote some attention as to how they, particularly in the theological side, not so much on the science side, that's a little bit better developed because children have to have science classes and this kind of thing, but more from the faith and religious perspective. And I think some of that now has been developed, and I think Dan might have better access to this. It's simply Dan Misleh at catholicsandclimatechange.org, and it's all one word. You just spell it all out.
Yeah, a few of our listeners have written in, are you familiar with Catholic Coalition on Climate Change? So yes, and yes. They do great work, and they have a lot of resources in addition to the ones that you listed for us at, where were those, the USCCB, the Vatican website? There were a couple on your slides.
Yeah, and there were also Ave Maria, your own resources. And Dan, as I said, Dan now has a much more extensive kind of reservoir of resources with his operation.